Not the whistle, not the foul. What stays with you is the silence. The half second after a footballer completely loses his mind on the biggest stage alive, when 80,000 people forget to breathe. These are not accidents. These are the moments football tears the mask off and shows you exactly what lies underneath. Let's start with the man who had everything and chose violence anyway. Zinedine Zidane. 2006 World Cup Final. The greatest player of his generation, maybe of any generation, playing the last match of his career on the largest stage the sport has ever constructed. 110 minutes of football behind him, a penalty shootout ahead, and then a headbutt. Not a shove, not a shout. A full, deliberate headbutt into the chest of Marco Materazzi in front of every camera on earth. The red card came. Zidane walked, and the last image the world ever had of him in a football shirt was not a goal, not a trophy lifted, not a bow. It was a man who simply stopped caring about the consequences. Have you ever asked yourself what it takes? What pressure, what fury, what invisible breaking point to make a man forget there are cameras on him? Because Eric Cantona didn't forget. He knew exactly where the cameras were. In 1995, he launched himself into the crowd at Crystal Palace and kung fu kicked a supporter who had been taunting him. That was not a moment of confusion. That was a man who had been holding something back for years and finally decided not to. The mask didn't slip. He threw it away. And then there is Suarez. Not one bite, not two, 3 separate incidents across his career, each one on a different continent, each one in front of thousands of witnesses. That is not a lapse in judgment. That is a pattern. A hunger so raw it became literal. Greatness and madness, it turns out, are not opposites. They are neighbors, and the wall between them is thinner than anyone in football will ever admit. Zidane, Cantona, Suarez, one of them had to know exactly what he was doing. Which one do you think snapped, and which one chose it? Drop your answer in the comments below. Now let's go somewhere even darker. Now pull back from those 3 names, Zidane, Cantona, Suarez, and look at what the sport has done with them. It packaged them, sold the footage, built documentaries around the breakdowns, slapped them in highlight reels, and called it passion. The modern game is a product, a brand, a carefully managed spectacle, and the people running it would very much like you to believe that the savagery is the exception. Then you look at Sergio Ramos. 30 red cards across a career that spanned Real Madrid, PSG, Sevilla, and eventually Liga MX. Not 30 incidents of bad luck. 30 dismissals, elbows, stamps, 2-footed lunges, a straight red for kicking an opponent from behind in the dying seconds of a match he had already won. The record for the most red cards in La Liga history belongs to him. He won 4 Champions Leagues. He captained Spain to a World Cup. He was, by any measure, one of the greatest defenders the sport has ever produced. And he still could not stop. The aggression that made him elite was the same aggression that kept overflowing the banks. That is not a character flaw. That is the sport's architecture working exactly as designed. Football is built on controlled violence, and the word controlled is doing enormous, exhausting work in that sentence. The pitch demands that you suppress the instinct to foul, to retaliate, to break someone for 90 minutes, under physical pain, under crowd noise, under the weight of everything that matters to you. Most of the time, men hold. Most of the time, the thread stays taut. But here is what Ramos proves, what Zidane proved, what every name in this conversation proves. The thread is always there, You just cannot see it until it snaps. And the next time you settle in to watch a match, the cameras, the music, the sponsorship graphics, understand that what you are actually watching is a group of men holding themselves together by the thinnest possible margin. The sport does not create the madness, it simply waits for it. Subscribe if you want the unfiltered version of football, and watch this one next.